Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Hello and welcome to Road to Recovery, advocacy and insights for trucking accidents with Sagi Shockhead. Sagi is founder of Shockhead Law Personal Injury Lawyers and is ranked as one of the top 100 trial lawyers in the United States by the American Trial Lawyers Association. With a wealth of experience in personal injury, wrongful death, and complex litigation cases, he passionately advocates for victims and has recovered multi-million-dollar settlements in damages for his clients. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and we are going to talk all things depositions today. Crush your deposition, insider secrets to winning trucking accident claims. Sagi, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I look forward to this.
All right, I'm going to start with the real basics. What is a deposition?
Yeah, so a deposition is a formal proceeding that happens when you file a lawsuit. So think about this. You filed a lawsuit. Now the defense, which is usually insurance companies and their lawyers, and this isn't a personal injury setting, we're talking about specifically trucking, but in any personal injury setting, they get a right to ask you questions. And when they do that, usually it's sworn to under oath. So if you're in a deposition, they're going to make you, raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, tell the whole truth. And then they start asking you questions. And the purpose of a deposition is to, one, understand your story, understand how the crash occurred, understand your injuries, understand the long-term nature of your injuries. And for the defense, it's to evaluate their claim. But also, a deposition, because it's sworn to, can be used against you if you're in trial. So for example, if you give testimony that's inconsistent with the facts, you bet they're going to use that deposition against you. And you see a lot of people doing Zooms now. So if it's a Zoom deposition, there's going to be a recording of you on a video. And if you say, for example, let's just use an easy example. I've never had neck pain before in my life. And the insurance company finds out that you've had neck pain. You now look like what? A liar, right? Looking like liars, you lose credibility, and that'll destroy your case. So a deposition is a way to memorialize your case. It's sworn to. It could be very beneficial for you, but could also be beneficial for the defense. So most important rule in a deposition is you have to be honest and truthful so you don't lose your credibility. So that's a deposition in a nutshell.
Okay. And is there a general time frame these last, or they kind of vary?
Yeah, it really varies by case basis. So it also varies depending on who the defense lawyer is, depending on who the insurance company is. So a skilled defense lawyer does not need to take a person's deposition for hours on end. Usually it'll be the younger lawyer. You'll see they'll come in with a notepad that is, printed out with 55 pages or 80 pages of questions, and they'll go down, they'll look at their notepad like I'm doing now, and one question at a time, and it takes forever. And it's because they haven't had the experience. Because if a person's had the experience, they know what they need from the person being deposed, and they get their information and they get in and get out. And with experience, it comes with experience. So the younger lawyers, they follow the 80-page outline and, hoping they don't miss anything, when a lot of it is kind of a waste of time. So what I would tell clients is, if you're getting ready for a deposition, you're probably going to spend, at least in our office, we spend more time getting ready for a deposition than the actual deposition. Because if I've done a good job, or the team on our side has done a good job preparing you, that means you would basically, for a 2-hour deposition, we've probably spent preparing you 6 to maybe 8 hours of deposition preparation.
Oh, wow.
And then some clients are easier to prepare. It also depends on their injuries. Sometimes people have brain injuries, so it just takes a little bit longer to prepare them. And sometimes one session is not enough. You may need 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions to make sure the preparation, is good, and make sure there's no inconsistencies. Because again, if you're inconsistent, the defense uses that against you. We don't want to help the defense out. We want to have one consistent, credible, and truthful story. So preparation for a deposition is key. It can take a little bit of time, and the deposition can take some time. So I've been in depositions that have been a couple of days, and I've been in depositions that have been, a half hour. It really depends.
Wow. Well, that's a good segue into my next question. How do you prepare a client for a deposition? It
So
sounds pretty involved if it takes days
yeah,
sometimes.
so sometimes we will have a couple of different days where we're preparing. Now we don't want to wear the client down because a lot of times, you sit there and some people have, ADD, some people can't sit for 5, 6 hours at a time. And that's most people really. So what we try to do is break it up into chunks. And so we start off with first explaining what a deposition is, what they have to look for, what are the tricks the defense tries to do in depositions. We also go through all their medical records, and we go medical record by medical record to make sure they have an understanding of what they told their doctors. And sometimes what you tell a doctor is different than what the doctor writes down. So let's say you tell the doctor you have neck pain, but the doctor may write, she may write that you had neck pain going from your neck to your shoulders, but that may not be in the record, or it may be in the record. So it really depends. And it's important for us to make sure the records are consistent with what the client is saying. Go through if it's a truck accident, we go through the traffic crash report, any photographs, any aerial views of the crash, and make sure that the client's story, again, is credible, truthful, reliable. We want to be the people having a credible story, and the defense has the not credible story. Their story doesn't make sense. And so if I'm preparing a client for a deposition, we're going to spend time together. And lately, we've been doing a lot of the preparations by Zoom because it's more convenient for the clients. And, it's bad enough that they're injured. Now we have to drag them to our office. So Zoom has been, or something the equivalent. It could be Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or whatever, but something equivalent to that where we can get some FaceTime with the client and really go through every single document in the file, go through everything that they've gone through, talk about their life, how their life has changed, how it's been impacted. If we're talking about the pain, the frequency of the pain, the intensity of the pain, the duration of the pain, those are things we addressed. So it's hard to tell you in a short, podcast like we're doing now, what every single detail that we go through. But again, it's taking those records. So if we had records right now, I would start with the first date of treatment, usually fire rescue. Let's see what fire rescue said. Did you lose consciousness? Did you not lose consciousness? Did you have your seatbelt on? Did you not have your seatbelt on? If you didn't, what's the reason you didn't have your seatbelt on? Those are things juries want to know. Adjusters want to know. Defense lawyers are going to ask those questions. So we have to be prepared for everything. So preparation will start from, a couple of weeks before the deposition to even the day before the deposition. And sometimes the morning of, we'll do some more practice drills. So for example, a lot of times we may have 2 lawyers in the deposition prep, or one lawyer will start the deposition prep for a couple of days. So the other lawyer will be the defense lawyer, and they'll play that part, and we'll do like a mock deposition to see how the client does during the deposition. Do they waver? Because a lot of times the defense lawyers will ask the same questions over and over and over and over again in hopes that you'll say you quit and you just want to just give them what they want so we can get this thing over with. So the deposition preparation that we do is exhausting. We want to exhaust them to be prepared for the worst. And 99% of the time when they have their deposition, it's much easier than the prep was. And we worked hard to get there. So it's all about hard work, preparing, making sure we do what we're supposed to do.
You watch movies and TV and everyone, it's always amazing how comfortable everybody is in that situation. I would imagine that a lot of times in the real world that even when you get prepped, when you get in that chair, you're I don't know, your body shifts, your mind shifts, like all of a sudden you're nervous. Do you find that people, even after some prep, can still be kind of a little bit deer in headlights?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have even professional witnesses when they get in that hot seat. Sometimes they make mistakes. It happens to everybody. I mean, you take the stand. So deposition is like being in trial. It's really the equivalent. Everything you say can be used against you. You know that old saying the police say, but it really is. So people do get nervous. It's normal to get nervous. But the more you do things, the better you become. Sort of like riding a bike. The first time you get on a bike, you ride, you fall, you ride again, you fall, you ride again, you fall. And then eventually you just start riding and it becomes second nature. That's why we do so much prep work with the clients to make sure that they feel comfortable. And that's why we do also the mock deposition, where I think we do a 10 times better job than the defense would do, because we really go after them and try to hit every issue that we think they're going to bring up the defense. And usually we hit more issues than the defense does. So that'll kind of make them at ease and reduce those butterflies.
If I'm a client, what should I know going into my deposition for a trucking accident case? What should I expect from the defense?
Yeah, so the defense, especially in trucking cases, they're going to take long-winded depositions. So what you need to know is make sure the lawyer that you have is preparing you. Make sure they're doing a good job preparing you. And how do you get prepared? Sort of what I talked about a little bit before, which is going through every single page of records. Sometimes we get involved in cases and the lawyer prepares the client about 20 minutes or 15 minutes before their deposition. I'm like, that's crazy. How can you do that? How can you, as a lawyer, do that to your client? What kind of justice can you get for your client? There's no case that I've ever gone in and had 15 minutes of preparation with the client. I think it's not fair to the client, not fair to the case. And really, as a lawyer, you shouldn't be practicing, is what I would say, if that's how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Your clients hired you for a reason, right? If you're hiring someone, they don't have time to talk to you, or they don't prepare you for your deposition, or you don't feel comfortable going into that deposition, then something's wrong. That's not the lawyer for you. Be careful who you hire for these trucking cases, because the wrong lawyer will get you the wrong result. You're not going to get fair justice. And that happens all too often, is what we see. So again, preparation, 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 and more preparation. The more prepared you are, the better it is that you're going to do in these depositions. So I would look for tricks that the defense tries. And I have a whole laundry list of them. I don't really want to put them on the podcast because I don't want to give the defense lawyers any more ideas. Yeah, not looking to give them any more ideas than they have, because we see things differently. Everybody sees things through a different lens. So when I'm looking to prepare a client, I'm preparing the client not only for the defense lawyer, I'm preparing the client for the insurance adjuster, I'm preparing the client for the jury. How's a jury going to feel about our client? What do they think about our client? So we're doing these focus groups ahead of time. We're doing mock trials with the testimony that we have to see how it fits. The words you use matter. So there's things, again, that I just won't share on a podcast, because I think that's only for clients and attorney-client stuff, attorney-client privilege. But you get the gist. It's going to take time. If you have a case, if we have your case, we're going to prepare and you're going to work. It's going to be work. There's no, if you want to get those big 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure results, and when I mean 7-figure, I mean in the millions. When I mean 8-figure, I mean in the tens of millions. And when I mean 9-figure, I mean in the hundreds of millions. Those take time, and you really have to work with the clients and not let the clients just go to a deposition. I've also seen this. We speak of depositions, but there's also interrogatories. It's a fancy word for a questionnaire. And so usually the defense, before taking your deposition, will send you interrogatory questions about how the crash occurred. Where did you go to treatment? What hurts you? Where it hurts? What treatment did you have? What are your injuries? That's basically like a deposition. You're answering those questions. So if you don't answer those questions truthfully, those are also sworn to under oath. You're going to get killed in trial. You're going to get killed in deposition. When I say killed, I mean they're going to hurt your case.
Yeah, they're gonna wear you down. Yeah.
So we have to make sure everything you do stays consistent. That's why I saw a lawyer. He sent over that questionnaire to the client, and the questionnaire was just filled out by the client, and they sent it straight to the defense. Lazy lawyering, basically. They didn't want to go over the answers. They didn't want to make sure there wasn't anything missing. You can't just send out stuff without talking to your client about what they filled out, and then making sure every single one of those questions is important, because if you miss a doctor, the defense is going to make a fuss about it. So we really take our time answering the questionnaires, and those questionnaires are sort of like a guideline for the deposition. So that's kind of how we prepare a client for a deposition. Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, a client, if someone's going to get asked about their injuries, is there any tips that you give people as far as how to talk about their injuries without digging themselves into a hole?
Right. So I don't like when someone just talks, being vague about their injuries. If you talk about your injuries and, for example, you can't just say it affects my life. That's vague. Let's
Mhm.
talk about specifics. How does it affect your life? Let's talk about the duration of the pain, the intensity of the pain, the frequency of the pain. How does it affect your sleep? If you have headaches, describe what the headaches feel like. They feel like, someone's taking a hammer and slamming my head. I mean, that's just to give you an example. There's many different examples. So whatever the person's going through, don't be general. That's why I say you can't really just do this off the cuff unless you have a person who's such a great natural orator and speaker and knows how to describe everything, which 99% of people do not know how to do that. So you want to work with the clients to really get a deep connection with the clients, find out, how you connect with them, and then really you can help them bring about their story so they can really tell their story as opposed to not knowing or having that 15-minute prep. They don't really know the significance of a deposition. So if you're going to be doing a deposition, make sure that your lawyer works with you, that you don't use vague descriptions of how you're feeling or what you went through or what you're going through. Remember, someone's going to the hospital and they're being operated on. There's a feeling, there's a fear there. You got to talk about that kind of stuff. You can't just say, "Oh, I went to the hospital, had surgery." There's more to it than that.
Absolutely.
So you really have to get into the weeds, and that's what I would say is really be descriptive of the injuries and everything that you're going through. Again, sometimes it's getting out of the hospital and being, months not being able to walk. You can just say it like that, or you can really describe how that impacted your life on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, how it changed your life. Those are things that really need to go into your answers because that's what we would do in trial. Juries
Mhm.
really want to know. Otherwise, you don't need a lawyer to just go in there and say, "I got hurt, my neck hurts, I want money." That never works. So we really have to describe how this has changed your life for the worse.
Are there any kind of common mistakes or pitfalls that you've seen people kind of get into during a deposition?
Yeah, I think when people try to make stuff up, I would say
Uh,
never do that.
yeah, that's good
Stick
advice.
Yeah, stick to the truth. The truth is on our side. The defense needs to make up facts. The insurance companies need to make up facts to win. If you stick to the truth, you're going to win on your case. Now, also, I would say is if you're tired during the deposition, I would get a good night's sleep. Make sure you rest well. Don't go out the night before. Don't drink the night before. Wake up and prepare. So if your deposition's in the morning, your preparations should be in the morning. If your deposition's in the afternoon, your preparations should be in the afternoon as well. You need to be able to be showtime. You need to, have it on when the deposition is. Another thing, if you're exhausted after 40 minutes or an hour of the deposition, you're entitled to say, "I need a timeout. I need a break." You can take as
Mhm.
many breaks as you want. It's not a contest as to how long you can speak or how long you can be deposed for. So I would say taking a break is super important, and then listen to the actual questions and then wait before you answer. Don't rush to answer because it is not it's not a race. Take your deposition, let them ask the deposition question, and then you answer it. Make sure you know the answer it truthfully, but wait before you rush to answer the question. I would say that also if you're taking any type of narcotic, whether it's prescribed, obviously don't take any illegal narcotics or drink before your deposition. But if you're taking any type of pain medication that affects your ability to understand any of the questions, I think that's extremely important that the lawyer knows for both sides, your lawyer and the other lawyer. You don't want to not disclose that. And then when you're in deposition, you're giving answers that don't make sense because you're drowsy
Yep.
or you just don't understand the question. Also, if there's a language barrier, meaning let's say English is not your first language, you need to ensure that your lawyer demands that they get a translator or an interpreter, because otherwise you may understand some English and the lawyer may start using technical terms or terms that you understood. Out of the 10 words, you understood 8 words. And there's a difference when we are missing words, and so you may not understand the question clearly.
Yeah.
So that's super important. Again, so number one, listen to their questions, take a pause, and then answer their questions. If you don't understand a question, this is important. Tell a lawyer, "I don't understand that question. Please rephrase it." You don't have to answer a question if you don't understand it. And then if you don't remember something, it's perfectly okay to say, I don't remember. Now, if they start asking you what your name is and you say you don't remember, and what your address is and you don't remember anything, you're going to look foolish unless you really don't remember. So I'm talking about like real items that you don't remember. If you can't recall something, the truthful way to say it is I can't recall or I don't remember. Don't make up facts. That's key for these types of, depositions. Don't make stuff up. Be truthful, be honest. If you don't remember something, say you don't remember. If you don't understand something, say I don't understand. And those are basically ground rules that I would give everybody in a deposition.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for tuning in to Road to Recovery, advocacy and insights for trucking accidents with Sagi Shaked. For more information or to connect with Sagi, visit shakedlaw.com. And please like and subscribe to our channel and leave us a review in the comments. Sagi, always great insight. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.